Hello, everyone. Hello in another umbraCoffee at the end of the month, November. How are we all doing? Hi, Callum. Hi, Rick. How are you guys today?
I'm all right. I'm all right.
Yeah.
How are you?
I'm doing good. Yeah.
Marcin, you've got new lights. What's going on?
Yeah, I'm professionalizing my YouTube service, and instead of doing various other things that I should do, today I was playing with lights for half an hour, right? So that's, but at least they work. Hopefully, they are connected to electricity, and yeah, I'm probably using all of my gear, taking advantage of me working from home today. So
Looking good. It's looking good.
It looks great.
what about you guys? How you wasted your time today?
Well, I've actually been working on some Angular JS code today for the first time in years. Still trying to wrap my head around how it all works, but I got there in the end.
Nice. And
I'm
Callum?
back from a week of travels and lots of other things. My final talk of the year this week. So yeah, this is my first day sat down on a chair working properly in
That's
a little
nice.
while.
That must feel nice. And again, we are at the end of November. December is ahead of us. We had a talk with Rick at the moment before we went live on, when is the code freeze dates at the companies. So until when we need to release everything else.
I'm interested to know what are people doing there, because we've had this conversation with some clients, and we like to be overly cautious there, I guess, and sort of give ourselves a 10 to 14 day birth of Christmas, and we close for 2 weeks anyway. But I know some people who say, oh yeah, 2 to 3 days before. And there's always little exceptions that get made for, but except for this thing that has to happen because the client's doubting.
Yeah. We had one rule this year, and it's related with Umbraco. So as soon as Umbraco won't release security advisory, then we are fine. But we have a code freeze set for 12th December. So everything needs to be released before then, which in theory gives us still a week before we are closed for the holidays. So that's our policy. I don't know, Rick, what about yours?
I'm pretty sure, if I remember from the messages I saw the other day, it's either the end of that week or the start of the next week, just to kind of account for anything last minute. Like no deploys on Friday, so we'll deploy on the Monday, I think like the 18th.
But you mentioned Callum, boundaries and small exceptions. I think this is our all problem, because we all allow sometimes for small exceptions, and then small exceptions becomes big problems, and that's how it is sometimes.
I mean, this does my head in at the moment, where we've got clients that are like, we need things, we need sign off on a site going live a week out is our rule. So you tell us a week out that all good, no further bugs, no further showstoppers, it's going live in a week's time. And then we've had too many occasions where at the 11th hour, there's just this one quick thing, we've just noticed this entire feature is missing, and it's like, right, so what's the point of the approvals then? And we've been getting stricter and stricter on that. So okay, fine, you've missed your window, you've got to go again in a month or something.
One thing that worked for us recently as well was the content freeze, which was a very old pattern of not generally creating content for a little while. And if you tell the client that they won't be able to create content for a long time because of postponing some of their decisions, that usually works on them. So that's something what I realized recently, but it's not a recipe for success, unfortunately. But yeah, it's been a busy month, right? It was a lot of things happened. There were festivals, there were travels, and we have a lot of topics to talk about. And when we were preparing for this, so for this one, I was trying to find out what was the first big thing that was released or publicly announced on the beginning of the November. And I think that we can start from this one, which was announcements of the new product under new name, which is a little bit different, an old product under the new name, which is Umbraco Engage. And it's after acquisition of Marketing Suite, of course. We talked about it in the past. So now it got a new name. I don't know when it was announced for the first time before this blog post, but definitely it was somewhere, right?
It's been floating around for a month or two prior to this, but I think at festivals and the partner events they were telling people, but it hadn't been publicly unveiled. And they actually, for the first time, I think, did a brand unveiling video that they shared on social media, which was quite nice, and it showed you how all the little concepts of that new Engage icon sort of work and what they're meant to be, because it's both an eye and like a magnifying glass and all these different elements. So they did an intro video maybe a couple of weeks back.
And guys, did you use Umbraco, you marketing suite or Umbraco Engage in the client's project already?
I've used it very sparingly. Like I think I got an MVP license when it was still your marketing suite, and I've had demos of it with clients at different agencies and stuff. But I don't think I've ever really used it in anger. But it makes sense in the Umbraco ecosystem these days, doesn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Same from our perspective. We've used it to show clients whenever a client says, "Hey, we want personalization," and
that's awesome.
Tell us what that means in practice.
Yeah.
Like, do you have data to back it up? No. We just need it to be personalized. Tick a box. But we set this up for pitches and showing people.
Yeah.
We've got intention to use it on our own website. So, Rick, you mentioned MVPs used to get a free license for your marketing suite, and gold partners above used to get a free license to use on their own website as well. I believe that still continues.
Yeah, I thought it did.
So from what I've been told by Mike recently is that if you're a partner and you want to use it on your own website, sort of a very limited version, you can do that. So you could at least give it a try. It's very powerful. The only way to do like segmentation in content in Umbraco as well.
Plus, at the same time, a lot of new kind of features behind the scenes allows to do even more with it in the sooner future. So I think I can just say that from the perspective of after Umbraco acquired your marketing suite, there was even more attention on. Right now let's check it really seriously because maybe we will be able to do that, to use it on the production side. But it's still in the kind of transition period between. I had some fun and jokes from Laura who was doing the talk on the UK Fest and she said I will be using both names at the same time. It's still transition period. So we're still adopting
commerce vendor repeatedly on a daily basis.
But it's a nice rebranding, and I think again I agree with you, Rick, that it might be needed from the CMS perspective because other CMSs play heavy on A/B testing, for example, which was, in my opinion, very missed functionality on the CMS level. But once, let's see, it might be again the buzzword, or it might be a real business need, but in some cases, not in all cases. So. Yeah, it is interesting. So, and as you kind of mentioned, there was a lot of videos. There was even a whole series of Umbraco Engage videos on Umbraco channel. Cool. I can't see the series now, but there was definitely 5 or 6 videos about Umbraco Engage, data ownership, analytics, A/B testing, profiling. All of them are describing the functionalities there. So.
Very cool.
Yeah, it seems like it's raised some interest. Plus, what we can definitely also say after keynotes and Umbraco Festivals, personalization is one of those 4 areas where Umbraco will be heading to. Yeah. So, yeah, we'll see. So that was one big thing. Second is something what.
Sorry, just to rewind a little bit. I think, please, someone correct me if I'm wrong. It's still only available for 13.
Yes, it is. I just clocked that on the release announcement because I was trying to play with segments and see how they've been set up in 15 yet, but they still don't quite exist.
Talking with, I think it was Ken or somebody the other day, basically said they don't exist and they need to really rethink and reimagine what those are. Yeah. Currently, segments only really exist to work for your marketing suite Engage in prior versions. So they want to come up with a better way of implementing it. And I think it's a bigger task right now. So I don't think, there's a
roadmap plan for it. Yeah. So that's
25. Exciting.
Yeah.
Exciting.
Yeah.
I remember seeing Nathan's talk at Code Garden this year where he was talking about workflow and some of the functionality that he has, like a concept of like release sets where you can build a whole separate set of your content and set it to schedule publish at a certain point, which is kind of equivalent to segments in some way. So maybe there's some inspiration coming from that.
Yeah. I think they've taken, obviously as part of 14, the opportunity to completely reimagine how a lot of concepts in the CMS work from a API and from a CMS UI perspective as well. So it's about time. This has never had any thought put to it. The U-Marketing Suite team are basically the only people that have gone, let's do it. And Ken and I were talking that some kind of, I don't want to plant ideas in the public domain that aren't going to happen, but from the demos when we've used your marketing suite to set up examples, the segments, they sort of appear in that big drop down at the top with all of your language variants too.
Yeah.
And it can get pretty unruly fairly quickly when you've got, let's say you create 10 segments and you've got 5 languages. Suddenly you've got 50 options that appear in that drop down. And it would be great to be able to just say, well, I only want to change one field for a segment and leave everything else as it was, and therefore be able to sort of jump in and out directly in the UI, kind of Vorto style, where you could toggle per property level, even not the whole document. I don't know, but there's some reimagining that's going to happen because
that's exactly what Laura. That's exactly what Laura mentioned, Callum, during her talk. Because it's like, one is the bumping up the product to work on the APIs levels and so on. Second is complete, EX, UX, however we'll name it.
Exactly. There's no current. My understanding is no current implementation for segments at all in the v15 back office. So they've got a blank slate there, really. And there's people that have been unofficially using it, but I guess your marketing suite and now Engage are the only ones to officially use it in a product as well. So I guess they've got the opportunity to maybe break some things around that feature to get it right and make sure it works for everybody. So that could be really exciting, because whilst maybe the whole analytics platform and the A/B testing isn't something that I'm particularly interested in, we have seen scenarios where we need to be able to vary one property on a global product, for example, that we need to be able to change some descriptive text out depending on the brand that it's displayed for. Segments would be perfect for that. So I'd love some opportunity to reimagine some things here. Anyway, tangent. Sorry.
Yeah, but we'll see. And again, it's the whole product strategy right now, and even a sub product, because it's not even an let's say main core product itself. So yeah, that's a good segue to the strategy and the business evolution of Umbraco, because just next after that, also in November, it was announced that the price are changing. And again, probably everywhere we see price increases this year, similarly to previous year, which was probably the least surprising year of increasing prices, right?
This is very routine for Umbraco at this point now. It's annual, first of November or something, they announce the price increases.
But again, prices might not be heavily increased in the various area, but Callum, it also driven you to publish one thing, the first post on LinkedIn, which is about the whole strategy.
Ever post on LinkedIn, indeed. I'll make it very clear. I don't really, whilst yes, some prices are, in my opinion, expensive, I don't really care about the pricing. The thing that really this whole blog post highlighted to me was the fact that there is so much inconsistency in the way that the licensing is structured in the products. So I didn't realize that deploy on premises was a one-time upfront fee followed by an annual fee. So it's a subscription and a one-time. Then you've got products that are a one-time price, like forms. You've got products that are annual subscriptions. You've got products that are annual subscriptions but expressed as a monthly price in the case of commerce, just to confuse things more. And you've got some products that have like a free tier. UI Builder, for example, has got a one free collection. I think Plumber allows you one workflow. Not Plumber, what's it called? Workflow allows you one workflow or something for free, or a basic strip back one. And it's just so confusing. So my whole argument was, let's make the licensing make more sense and a bit more accessible to people by having what did I describe them as? Hero products, gateway products, basically the flagship products, which would be someone wants a form on a website, someone wants a very basic e-commerce store, someone wants one workflow, that sort of thing. Give them that for free, get people in the community, in the ecosystem, and then hit them with a big one-time, 300 euros or something fee when they want a second form or they want a more powerful store. And I think even in Engage, there's argument for, say, giving away, like, I don't know, it's their license is request based. So you have tiers, and that's allowing you a certain number of requests to your website. It's just a really confusing system. So maybe a a free tier that allows you just to have access to, I don't know, analytics data or something would be cool, or just really limited. Yeah, that's my thoughts. I know it got quite a bit of attention from some people.
I completely missed this post, Callum, I must admit, as heavy LinkedIn user, I got it missed. But at the same time, I know how you also been involved in analyzing of licensing before we switched to the new marketplace, how to chase and how to collect the licensing, how to unify this experience. And to be fair, we all probably talked even on umbraCoffee about this Netlify issue back in the days with the enterprise project consuming requests by bots, and then it was like 200 euros. So all the licensing, all the models raises challenges, and in this case, it's like having to satisfy everyone. It won't work. Someone needs to be unsatisfied, and who is the question?
But
right?
I think there's a happy medium here. I think Soren in the comments actually highlighted that with cloud, if you're on a starter plan, you get 5 gig of bandwidth or storage, maybe it's storage, and as soon as you need 6 gig, that's going to cost you an extra 600%. So the jump is from something like 60 euros up to 160 euros or something insane, or 35 euros up to 160 euros. There's no like intermediate steps in some of these things. And my overall argument was that if we're going to try and compete with other platforms in the space, we need the pricing to be friendly and approachable for people that they can get in the door, and then you can step them up the tier quite a bit. There's people will maybe know I'm a bit of an Apple fanatic, and there's a great video by Marques Brownlee, MKBHD, on YouTube, where he analyzes Apple's pricing ladder, and it's sort of geared all around getting people in the door at a very nice, cheap entry-level price, which is fine for sort of maybe 20% of users. But then you compare the others, and they're always pushing you sort of $100 or $200 up the ladder, attracting you with a slightly better offering. But it's a fairly clear structured tier thing. Like we've got, even on the Umbraco products, the different tiers are called different things depending on the product, just to confuse things even more. So I think, is it cloud is basic, or starter, and then standard, and then professional, then enterprise, or something like that? Again, confusing. So have consistent naming and have consistent structure across all the products was my complaint there. But I know it's a lot of work.
It makes complete sense, to be fair, and yeah, as soon as everyone understands for what is being built for and how to buy a specific tier, that's enough. But I saw it a challenge amongst all the other projects. I can't remember, it was what was the mail engine, SendGrid or other ones, where I realized that they didn't have a tier in the middle. We wanted to send 100,000 emails, not 500,000 emails. So they advised us to bump the plan when we need it. I said, okay, cool. That's the strategy. That's the plan. They know what to advise when and for who, and then it's up to us to decide for what we are paying for.
Yeah.
So yeah,
I wonder if with like the whole WordPress thing that's been going on recently, like there would be, if there was, like, how many sites do we build for clients where they need one form? Like, if I know as gold and platinum partners, you do get like free licensing and stuff, but if that changes in the future, if we could provide one free form,
you
for
don't,
like the
you
small
don't get free licensing anymore. There's no
free.
free
No.
No. So previously gold partners got like unlimited forms licenses. Now they come out
and generate it.
You have to purchase it. Comes out of your credits, which I like the credit system. I think it works well.
But being able to put a free form on a site.
One form, contact form, it can maybe send an email and that's it. Maybe it doesn't do any of the other integrations. And then when someone needs a more pro feature, bump it up. And I think Jason argued in the comments that why don't you just use a Google form, or like a form from MailChimp or something? Also perfectly valid argument. But it's a shame that Umbraco's solution to that problem would be use a third-party product and not our product.
I saw a lot of clients embedding typeforms, for example, on the page just because of that. They would love to have branding next to the typeform, or another UForm, or however was it named.
I see a lot of people making their own forms implementations, like really bad forms implementations, and then that reflects badly on the overall product and ecosystem as well. When you've got an implementation that's not good, I think we've always said this, and Umbraco's downfall has often been poor implementation gives end customers a poor perception of the product. So get the high quality, products and implementations in front of those customers first, let them try them out, be happy that, yeah, this works for my very small business, and then bam, make them pay when they want a bit more.
Yeah.
That's a big topic. We'll see then. Let's see how the strategy. There is a new CEO as well in place who might aim to unify this all at some point as well, because it needs to be understood internally as well, right? So that's amongst the big company. It's often a challenge inside too. Cool. So that's the changes ahead of us, and now let's maybe summarize what happened also in the recent times. Callum, you just said that you came back from travels, so there were a series of festivals. There's also a lot of summaries of festivals on the blog post. Some of them highlights also great pictures, Callum, right? So,
This is an awful picture. There's a trend of taking really bad pictures of me speaking on stage, but this is probably the worst one I've ever seen.
I would always say, I spoke with Anya on UK Festival and said I don't have a good pictures from me talking on the stage, etc. But this is an amazing picture. But at the same time, of course, we've catched up on in London in UK Festival. You've been attending the DK Fest too, and let's summarize it maybe somehow. Rick, you've been also attending UK Festival. How would you summarize your experience there and what you've taken out of it?
Yeah, absolutely loved UK Fest this year. It was only my second ever one, so I went the first time last year.
No way. Was it?
Yeah.
Oh, the bar's really low. That's good.
But it was absolutely great. The venue was really, really nice. Code Node. I'd never been there before. That was great. And some really, really interesting sessions. I've already mentioned this to Callum a couple of times, but obviously anything sustainability is going to pique my interest. But having Asim Hussain there from the Green Software Foundation was just an exceptional opener to the conference, talking all about how you kind of democratize or remove the democratization of open source measurements of carbon footprints and stuff. It was really interesting. He talked about how BP were the first people who came up with the idea of a carbon calculator for individuals, trying to shift the blame from corporations to individuals. And so they're talking about this impact framework, which is their kind of open source way of measuring carbon footprints of Azure resources and site startup speed and all sorts. So I had a great chat with him afterwards about how we on the sustainability team can potentially get involved with that as well and start putting some Umbraco benchmarks out there. But then, yeah, overall, some great talks, a real range of talks. Yeah, absolutely loved it.
Yeah. And Callum, from your perspective then, after a festival road trip, how would you summarize this experience this year? Because you've been attending a lot of them as well in the past.
It's been busy. I've done a lot of events this year. I need to add them all up and tot it up, because I promised Jonah Anderson that we'd have a little competition to see who'd done more events. But I think she might have beat me. Yeah, I've done all of the festivals and it's been great. It all kicked off with the Dutch festival back in September, which was nice as always. The Swedish festival coming back in October. I know we've spoken about this before, Marcin, but it was just lovely to see. It felt like a grassroots community because it'd been gone for so long. And then UK Fest. I mean, I can't really talk too widely about that because it was all a bit of a blur for me, but I think it went well. And then DK Fest, which I was at 2 weeks ago, was awesome. Really good to see the community back in the swing of things. And yeah, they had a great venue. I don't know if you've got the video, Marcin, but they shared a video around on social media this week that sort of really captured the atmosphere and the mood. It was a dark, very industrial space, like a lot of Umbraco events are, but they had these projections on all of the walls. So like basically a massive screen displaying the schedule and like their branding, and it just looked awesome. And the vibe from the event was great too. So that was one of my highlights, actually. The Danish festival this year was really good. Really, really good. And then there's some more coming up as well. I mean, it's end of festival season now, isn't it? But
yeah, and we can talk about it because a couple of announcements were made. One of them is about UDAF. which is announced again, and it's Umbraco Down Under Fest.
Hot off the press, this one, because it only was announced actually officially this morning. These dates have been in my calendar for quite a while, but yeah, this is happening in April, which is great.
Yes,
they did one in 2018 and 19, and then they were supposed to do one in Sydney in 2020, but we all know what happened there. And so 5 years later, they're back in Sydney finally, and yeah, should be good. And the Reactor venue I know quite well. It's a nice space, centre of Sydney. Should be nice to see the community come back together.
Yeah, nice. That was in Brisbane then, right? That was the festival.
It's previously been in Gold Coast, so
Gold Coast.
So yeah, it's a bit more accessible for people maybe this time.
Okay. But on the announcement page, we can see, of course, the form to register the interest about the festival, and also call for proposal, organized on Typeform. So that's what you can see at least now. So yeah, speakers are probably more than welcome to submit the ideas on talks and sessions. And yeah, it's April, so not that far in time after the year break. So that's crazy, and that's interesting. The other event that has been announced, probably also on UK Festival, right? That was when it was announced. So it's Umbraco Spark, and it's probably even the same day or the day before than it was last year, 7th, 8th March. I do remember that was collision.
First week of March.
So 7th March, Bristol, Umbraco Spark, and also call for proposals are open. Tickets are on sale now. So yeah, that's exciting for.
And on that call for proposals, there's a slightly different structure this year, different venue, exciting new venue in Bristol, which is this science museum. Curious, and they're basically going to go for a single track of talks and push for a lot more technical talks, which I think is a great idea. So yeah, get your in-depth 45-minute style talks, and then some lightning talks, a quick fire too. But yeah, I think it'll be a different format, but probably a good one.
Yeah, nice. And Rig, have you attended any of Umbraco Spark?
Yeah, I attended 2023 and spoke at that one. That was the first. That was the first Umbraco conference I ever spoke at, actually. I'd done a meetup just before that, and then spoke about sustainability at the one in 2023. And there was another sustainability talk at the same time as well, which was yeah, it's great. It's great. I like that it is more technical. I think that's a needed thing in our circle. That it's kind of focusing on the technical and the innovation side of it. It sparks some good conversations afterwards. Yeah,
it was always standing out from the point of showing something what was never shown yet, maybe and yeah, it leads usually very well with another big event, which is Umbraco Code Garden, just a couple months later. And yeah, speaking about Code Garden, the team there also announced the call for speakers and call for proposals. The date were announced last year. So it's 17th and 20th June, and yeah, we can all submit ideas for talks and register interest for updates and everything else, basically about that.
Yeah.
Code Garden.
I was fortunate to have. So Emma kindly invited me along to her girls' night the other night. I was in Unza, so she's like, "Oh, you can come along to girls' night." So. I had the pleasure of having dinner with Steffi and Mary Lou, and I was able to give a bit of feedback on the CFP process from before, which is lightning talks were previously done on like a Google form, and they were separate from the regular CFP. They are now part of the main sessionized CFP form, but also they kept the same 2-session limit, so you couldn't submit 2 talks and a lightning talk, but now you can. They've increased it to 3.
That's a great feedback.
Thankfully, so you can submit your lightning talks in there.
That's a great feedback.
Yeah, all good, and I think as Seb said, 20th edition, they're looking for to do some exciting things. So not really a venue to miss.
That's cool. Yeah, so definitely all the people and all the speakers suggest ideas, and that will be definitely exciting. And 20th anniversary sounds like crazy time, which is even better to attend. Speaking about big things, then there was one small big thing happening this month, and I just closed the tab that I was going to show. So no more big things to show. But it was Umbraco 15, of course, that got released this month. And yeah, after a couple of RCs and a lot of fixes and improvements since version 14, we have it. Have you guys used Umbraco 15 already? Played with it?
I've done a little bit with it. So my personal site is hosted on cloud and is running on 15, which was fairly easy to sort out. There's not an awful lot to it. It's mainly delivery API driven with a statically generated front end. But I've used it mainly for upgrading my packages, so block preview and the sustainability package both work on.
We will DDoS it right now.
On 15. Yeah. Yeah, it's statically generated. It's out on Cloudflare pages. So yeah, only really used it for upgrading packages. Really, no clients going to use it yet. We had a great discussion at UK Fest, actually, in one of the kind of breakout sessions about what's stopping people from going to 14 plus at the minute. I think the two main things that came out were it doesn't feel like it's production ready, and people are still unsure about building packages on it. So which was quite interesting to hear some of the conversations there.
I hear the same, to be fair, from all the people that I speak with, and there is a lot of questions also raised. Is like, is it the one? Is this the version that we should right now consider as the to be upgraded from the old 7, 8 size and so on? And it's really hard to answer the question because it always depends from the needs and also the amount of custom dependencies that are needed to be upgraded to. And I think right now I haven't played with Umbraco 15 yet, but I think like it would help a lot for us to have it when we were building projects on v13 now. But now might be just the time to wait for the new projects or new big projects that will take benefits from it, because most of them already started on v13, and now I don't see a reason to immediately migrate it to v15.
It seems 15, beyond new back office and refinements, etc. It seems v15 improves a lot of things that people have had as pain points for a while, the cache being one of them when building big sites, multilingual blocks being another. From my perspective, we've worked around these problems, because they've been problems for so long. We've worked around them. We have a homebrewed block variants plugin that allows us to do block level variation. We've done various things with the cache and with hosting and load balancing there as well. So there's probably not a big motivator for us to go out and upgrade to fix all of these problems. But at the same time, that conversation you mentioned, Rick, people getting started now with Umbraco 14 and beyond never knew these things as being problems because they just fix out the box, which is all is really awesome.
Yeah, what I find interesting, it came up in the conversation at UK Fest, is around the timing of things. So like I raised bugs for things in 14.2, which are only just being fixed in 15.1 in the RC and don't appear to be backported. So it seems like it's just push ahead. Like we're not, like 14 will be end of life. And
think about it. It was with 9, it was with 11 and 12. They were just sort of stepping stones between the LTS releases and new features coming. So I think it makes sense. It sounds like you've upgraded from 14 to 15 and it was not difficult.
Yeah. Oh yeah. The shorter jumps are much easier, as they have been since we got to .NET Core, Yeah.
But also at the same time, there were a couple of early adopters who started projects on v14 as for example Ulrich, and there were a lot of people who missed some bits from version 13, and the v15, v16 probably will be also this kind of version of just balancing it out and bringing back some good all-known things to be present in the new stuff as well. It also gives us and the Umbraco team time to rebuild and bump up the things like your marketing suite and other product offerings from the internals. So yeah, that's interesting. And yeah, again, it's good to see this version. I had one chat with someone who did test it and was very happy with how it works and the project works basically as expected, and now it's being stress tested with a lot of content. So yeah, it looks like pretty nice. And I haven't played with this tip-tap editor yet, and I think that's something what
actually, that
interests
is
me the most.
one of the things that I probably want to have a go with, because it looks exciting, and extending it could be fun as well. So
Exactly.
yeah, I'd forgotten that was in 15. I all the chatter about it, I thought it was even further down the line, but no, that makes sense.
But again, drag and drop functionalities and configuration of it looks really cool. So that's
from what I've heard, this is a Lee Kelleher led piece of work. So he's kind of gone. Well, you can see an element of his flair in there, the stuff he's done with contentment, etc., and that true, really flexible and very polished editor experience. So
exactly,
exciting.
Looks really, really nice. So yeah, let's see, let's test it. And people, if you are watching us and you have anything interesting that you have already built with Umbraco version 15 or 14, or what is your strategy to right now start the big projects, let us know. We'll of course highlight it during the talk later on. And there is a nice video as usual with the bigger release from Umbraco called Unboxing Umbraco version, and the team from HQ highlighted all of the functionalities, so we don't even need to install and run the project right now to see how it works and what it does, because there is a really nicely described by the team from Umbraco. So yeah, that's something what we'll link up in the episode's description. So that's about releases, but we mentioned packages, so maybe let's talk about packages for a while. Rick, you've been busy this year and in the recent times building and also distributing the packages that you've built. Some of them are all of them are highlighted here, as all of them are being migrated or already works on v14 Plus.
Yeah, they are. Yeah, so the block preview one has been out since 2023, early 2023 maybe. It was originally based on a blog post on 24 Days from Dave Worstenberg, where you could do custom Angular previews in the back office. I was basically dropping it into every site that I was working on. So I was like, well, why don't I just turn it into a package and you can reinstall it everywhere? And then Matt Wise did a blog post a year later on 24 Days about adding view component support. So I asked him very nicely, and that got brought in as well. But yeah, block preview v2 came out the day that Umbraco 14 came out, and then block preview v3 came out the day that Umbraco 15 came out as well. So I've been trying to keep on top of the RCs and upgrade it as we go. I think it's probably the thing I talk to people about the most if I'm ever at an event. People that talk to me about
that just proves the popularity of the package. But I wanted to say an amazing kudos for the README file here. I haven't seen it for a while, but it looks awesome and describes the exact problems and challenges too. So yeah, that's great work, and yeah, it's amazing how you also quickly released that to be supported for the versions here, and yeah, it's it's an example that the package can be released and present on the ecosystem on an early basis. And the second package that probably also got a little bit of traction and interest recently is the sustainability dashboard package. So yeah, that's also supported.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it's something we talked about for quite a while in the sustainability team. Is there some way we can allow you to benchmark your site from within Umbraco, whole kind of DXP approach, rather than having to go somewhere else to run your benchmarks? And again, lots of great conversations going on here. I've had somebody message saying, can we find some way of doing spidering the whole site, which was kind of on our radar anyway, because if you've got virtual nodes for things like profile pages or whatever it might be, or paginated archives of content, whatever, you can't necessarily benchmark just a page, you have to benchmark every page. And there's also some discussion going on with the new Engage team within HQ about, is there data that can be surfaced there from analytics data to get you a more accurate representation of page views, that you can say, oh, if it's emitting this much for one, add on my Engage page views for this page over the last, 3 weeks, 4 weeks, and get a better metric there. So that, yeah, we're just starting to explore that a little bit.
No.
being able to quantify it as like, this person, because they track all kinds of things like time on page and scroll depth and all kinds of things.
Exactly.
So you could go really detailed on your analysis.
Yeah.
I hadn't thought of that.
That's interesting. Yeah, and then again, your contributions and involvement in the community was highlighted recently as well in the U profiles. I can probably bundle it right now, and everyone who might want to explore more on yourself and motivations and everything what else you do can go there and read through this post. But yeah, that's crazy contributions. And yeah, at the same time, I took a dive into the Umbraco marketplace. This is a great picture, by the way. I took a look on the Umbraco marketplace just before, and we are unable to track down all the projects and all the releases in one monthly episode this time. But there's a lot of new packages, a lot of new releases, and smaller, bigger packages. But we can see some of them being released for version 14 and 15 directly. So definitely a lot of creators already considers v14 as a starter point for them to release packages. Was there any package, guys, from your point of view recently that caught some attention from your point of view? Anything new that catch your eye?
I don't know, to be honest. I've not been keeping on top of this either.
There was
the one for me that I keep an eye on is delivery API extensions, which is a one that basically allows you to generate your TypeScript client with strongly typed TypeScript models, and that's what I use on my personal site. So I could only upgrade my personal site to v15 when that was working, but that got done very, very quickly as well, so that works.
Nice. Yeah, we use that actually on a headless build we've been rolling out at the minute, and I don't know, I'm trying to encourage my team to talk about it because we've done some things different to what that package would suggest you should do. And we're also now starting to look at different ways of doing certain things, like this could be a whole rant, but Umbraco Forms is a nightmare with the delivery API. So is there better ways we can do that, and exploring that, and again how that all ties into headless Astro type builds. So yeah, you're right. That package has probably made a big impact on us in the last 6 months. Saved us a lot of time.
Yeah. I saw, and I mentioned during my recent talks as well about ecstatic and all the static site generation extensions too. So yeah, it was released recently in the upgraded form by Sam. So it has some new updates there, simple forms, some minifiers, some extensions. Yeah, there's a lot of crazy packages here, and yeah, it's good to see them also being supported on the recent versions of Umbraco. So yeah, if there is anything that is not listed here, or anyone is working on something cool, let us know, and we will probably bring it to the attention on some of the next episodes. And yeah, there was also a package of the month award being granted by Umbraco to Uskin this time, right? So
you say package of the month?
I think it's a blog post series that somebody's.
Yes, that was Jerome who started the series. It wasn't Umbraco, sorry. Yeah, not Umbraco thing. But there was a package of the month, and I think we talked about Uskin a lot as well. So I think that's also another highlight of activity. And I know that the team on Uskin released a lot of themes and templates as well on the marketplace recently. So. Yeah, there is a lot of cool packages, and there will be probably more. And yeah, let us know if there is anything that we need to be aware of. What else we have? There was a script release as well this month, of course, with some articles there that I still have on my list to read through, and it will be even more challenging in the December, having in mind that there's 24 days series.
Yeah,
they just behind the corner. Release, do they? But they are going to do like a weekly summary, I think, a weekly roundup of the articles, which is awesome. And yeah, I've heard some rumors of some topics and authors for the upcoming series 2, which I'm excited about. So I guess we only have to wait 2 days, don't we? Sunday's probably the first edition. Goodness.
Yes, that's Again, I need to make some time for reading of those articles, because I was recently just saving them in the bookmarks, and now it's the time. So December might be the time after this code freeze, maybe, right? So that's the plan. But there's a lot of also focus on where we should look for the information. We talked about it, of course, multiple times, about Discourse, about Slacks, about Twitter being less and less practiced, and also our community members did some Blue Sky bots and activities. For example, Matt Braceford did and Sharon amazing posts on how he approached some automation and some bot actions on the new clone of Twitter. So it is really interesting. Are you guys on Blue Sky, by the way?
Yeah,
I am, and I'm. So I've done a few things recently. I've been watching Blue Sky for a while. I actually found out they've stopped doing it, but you could find out your member number. And I remember getting an invite maybe 2 years ago at this point, and my member number is like 2,000 and something. So
wow.
I was one of the first couple of thousand users, which is really exciting. That said, more and more people have been going over there, and I'm starting to see it has that same bar-like feel that Twitter used to have, that it no longer has, and it's just a bit of a cesspool now. And every time I go on Twitter, I see something that I'm like, okay, really, this is really not okay now. So whilst I'm still on Twitter, and I'm probably going to keep my profile there for a while, what I'm going to be doing is shifting most of my stuff over to Blue Sky, and I've been using some tools. One that imports followers and following into the Blue Sky app from Twitter, so you can easily move people over. And then I've got another one that I plan to run this weekend that's actually going to bring over my entire Twitter archive of posts and import those into Blue Sky, so it keeps all of your history there too. So
I've seen people doing that. It even keeps like the timestamps as well, doesn't it? Like it backdates things.
Not quite anymore. So it used to, but that was just a UI thing. Now they put a little badge to say this is an archive from this date, basically. So it's not, there's no misleading things there. But yeah, I'm liking it as a platform. They've got nearly 25 million users at this point. It's doing quite well.
Yeah, that's interesting. I've been exploring it recently as well, because funny enough, the feature I see the most interesting for myself is the lists that are created, and then you go to the list and you are able to follow everyone from the list. Someone created starter packs. Yeah, someone created, of course, Umbraco starter pack, thanks to which we got some following already, and some
Umbraco starter packs. Everyone's creating one.
But also, one of the Polish developers created one of the for Polish developers on Blue Sky, and then I immediately received a lot of followers and said, oh, that might be interesting platform. And I saw some articles recently about the traffic on websites coming from Blue Sky, and some even big brands said, damn, it's not something what we can't ignore at the moment. So there is a lot of traffic going from there. So seems like we have some interesting platform. But I did some studies and I did some polls on my socials, and I asked people on every social platform about the platforms that they use the most. Of course, it was intentional to ask on every single one of them, because of course people are biased. And the fun finding is that LinkedIn is thriving. And
I think LinkedIn is thriving. The only thing I can't get behind with LinkedIn is the algorithm, the feed. You see stuff that happened 3 weeks ago. Like I want more real time.
But you can change it, you know that?
I do, but it's still servicing me back stuff that I don't feel is entirely relevant. And when you do the sort of recent feed, it shows you things that people are sort of liking rather than posting, and I want to see what people have posted. So I don't know. I still think it's probably the best platform. You're right. It's just not quite right.
I wasn't surprised, but I was surprised at the end, because I thought that maybe I use it the most recently as a social platform, because maybe, I don't know, business things interest me the most, and I couldn't find it on Twitter or other platforms anymore. So I think that was the finding that I made. And also that people considers, for example, Discourse or Slacks as a social platforms. That was something what I noted as surprise for me, because I thought always, like, social needs to be global. When it's, closed, it's not that social. But still, it's not true, because a lot of people spend a lot of time on close circles and close communities, which is still social for everyone. And that's interesting. And again, as a huge social media fan back in the days, I do feel the need to explore more. But maybe that's going to be a platform where we catch up the most after Discord, of course, which is also in use for the community here. If not social platforms, then maybe meetups, and that's where we will wrap up today. Because last list and last tab that I have opened is Umbraco meetups upcoming events. December has some of them, mostly focused on Christmas and summarizes, and probably that's the time to summarize. I don't know if we will have umbraCoffee at the end of the year. Probably we'll aim to get one settled, and then we will summarize some of the stuff. I don't know. Callum is smiling, so probably you will be
Marcin.
yeah. So maybe not. But if not, then
something.
use.
We'll do something.
Yeah. We'll record tomorrow.
No.
But then there's a lot of meetups, of course, summarizing the year and giving some, of course, Christmas social and quiz, famous social quiz in London, Umbraco Manchester group. So everyone can find something for themselves, even in the various locations in the world. So some online events too. Pretty cool and packed calendar, and then we'll all catch up in January, and hopefully start all over again. So Rick, what about you? What are your plans now for the end of the year? Do you already make some plans for 2025?
2025 is an interesting one for me, because my wife is due to have a baby in the middle of February. And so I definitely won't be at Spark. I don't know if I'll be able to get to Code Garden next year, which is a little bit a little bit sad for the 20th anniversary one, but it's fine. There is plenty of other stuff to go, and maybe I'll join online this year and do Code Garden online. So I can't really plan too far in the future.
But from the other point of view, sounds like you have exact plan for the next year. So that's pretty cool. And Callum, you have exciting plans as well, right, for the upcoming times?
Yeah, I'm living out of cardboard boxes right now. We're moving to Australia in like under a month. So that's all happening. And going to be exciting. We'll see. I'll be around the community in Europe a lot less, but I'll be still doing stuff.
So then probably Umbraco Down Under Festival is now the most in your interest, and
a bit. It'll be good to be there. It was a nice event in 2018 and 19, so I'll be happy to be back, and it is going to be on my doorstep, so there's not really any excuse.
Yeah, that's nice.
And I'll be back for
Awesome.
Code Garden. Not like that's all sorted already.
Okay, great, cool. So that's all for what we have prepared for today. As usual, we will link all the things that we highlighted in the episode's description. But also, as usual, let us know if we missed anything interesting or important, and we will add it there. At the same time, do the YouTube things, because it helps us to reach more people interested in Umbraco things, and as a proper YouTuber with proper lights right now, I can be more confident in clicking this button here.
The goal is to get back to 1,000
to 1,000
Code Garden, so we can pretend like this past 12 months never happened. Your YouTube's doing very well, Marcin. I was going to say, we should mention that Marcin's finally launched the Busy Programmers YouTube. And
yes, that's true.
What's it taken, 4 or 5 years, Marcin? But it's good.
Something around that.
We've been doing some interview series with people, some that we know, some that we won't know, and it's just great to hear a bit more about programmer life. So go watch Marcin's YouTube. You can subscribe there.
Thank you.
But we have to be 1,000 subscribers before he does. because that's just embarrassing.
That's a good competition to have. But one thing that I wanted to mention, that I watched this video on LinkedIn because it was posted on LinkedIn about us reaching 1,000 subscribers at Code Garden, and then I looked at YouTube. It has 980 right now, and no one checks that if it's true or not. That's true. So we can still feel like we have 1,000.
We just do it every week. No,
yes,
it's one, every time I've checked, that number has decreased. So we're doing something wrong.
Maybe, but again, it's not about the numbers, right? We appreciate every single one subscriber there. Maybe that was bots. Maybe our families turned out of us because we asked them to subscribe from 10 accounts. Maybe we never know. But yeah, at the same time, I know that it helps if you like, subscribe, if people just interact with the videos. So let's see, because again, there's a lot of Umbraco interest around there, and people are finding various materials, and yeah, at the same time, I on my second channel, I'm planning to do a lot of placements of people from our community, because of course I'm still admiring a lot of work from our people here, and let's see if we'll bring more interest globally. That's something what I would love to see. Cool. So that's all. Thank you, Rick, for joining us today. Keep up the good work, and again, come back with some crazy updates and or new things that you will be working on in 2025. Maybe you will have more inspirations from the life changes in the upcoming year, and we'll highlight that at some point. And yeah, for all the other people, have a lovely rest of the day and the weekend ahead, and let us know if there's anything else that we need to highlight in the next umbraCoffee episode, which will happen somewhere in the future.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah. Thank you, guys. Have a good rest of the day, guys. Cheers.